guys, this is Jade. Thank you for joining me over here on YouTube. Today I'm giving you a crash course in formatting your graphic novel for self-publishing through CreateSpace. I'll also be talking about some of the similarities between Lulu and CreateSpace and why I've chosen the latter to be my print company after spending 4 years with Lulu. Throughout the video, I'll have a small otter face indicating points of interest or showing you where to click within a program. I'll also have some tooltips at the bottom that give you a little extra information. Both Lulu and CreateSpace provide self-publishing options for indie creators like me. What's nice about on-demand print companies is you can buy anywhere from 1 to several thousands of your book at a time. So if you're limited on storage space like me, these can be very appealing print options. There are also other bulk on-demand print companies out there like Print Ninja that do an excellent job too, but those sites require a minimum order of several hundred of each book, and I just don't have enough storage space for that much product. The most important part about publishing your graphic novel is that all of your content is legible. That means you can't have dialogue bubbles and panels getting cut off when your print company crops your pages down to size. In order to guarantee that your content fits, you're gonna need a template. So here's my template. I was able to make it based on the numbers that CreateSpace so graciously provided to me when I asked for it. To make your template, there are a few terms that you're gonna need to know first. The first one is full bleed. This means that your content will go all the way to the edge of your page. When you have full bleed, there shouldn't be any white boxing around the images, unless you put the white boxes there yourself. Number 2 is a cut line. When print shops print your page, they still have to slice them down so that they'll fit within your book. They don't print on paper that's pre-cut to your book size. So knowing where your page will potentially be cut is instrumental in making sure that all of your content fits snugly and legibly. Last, but definitely not least, is the margin line. I call this one the safe zone. Anything inside the margin line is absolutely going to appear on the finished printed page. There's no risk of it getting cut. Since I'm a visual person, I've assigned each of these zones a different color. Red is the cut zone. Everything in there is probably going to go bye-bye, but it's essential to have for full bleed. If the images don't go all the way to the edge of the red, you can get stuck with some unsightly white borders, like tan lines. The dark green area represents space that will more than likely not get cut, but it could. So I try to keep all of my text bubbles and important images out of there when I can. Think of this area like a buffer zone. And then there's the light green area, which represents the safest place. This is where I can put dialogue and frames. Because the red represents what's outside the printed page, the template is actually larger than the printed book size. CreateSpace representatives asked me to make my file 6.25 by 9.25 inches for my 9 by 6 inch book. This allows me to account for full bleed when I make my images. So now that I have my template, I'm ready to format all of my existing pages. At this point, you're probably wondering why I didn't just make my book in this template first. That's because Lulu didn't provide me a template when I first started making my books. According to them, no on-demand print company would provide me a template. That clearly isn't true. Since I'm uploading an existing title that was previously published elsewhere, I have to change the ISBN on the interior pages of all of my books. I can get that from CreateSpace. So this is what CreateSpace looks like. All of your books that you've published or are pending will appear in the My Projects area. To add a book, just click on New Project and start adding information. I like to use the guided walkthrough because it helps me catch my mistakes. After that, you're ready to get your ISBN and add it to your title page, which, by the way, is a must. Now I'm going to format all of the remaining pages of my books, making sure that all of my important content fits inside the margin lines, but that some color goes to the edge of the page. Because my original content was never given a template from Lulu, some pages will unfortunately have borders. I've elected to make those borders match the background by adding gray, white, and black borders that extend far into the full bleed zone. That way, it's less intrusive than white borders appearing on all of the pages, regardless of what I wanted the page color to look like. After you're done with all of your content, you'll need to make a PDF file of all of your interior pages. The exterior ones come later. Some Adobe and Manga Studio programs have features that will do this for you. but my versions don't have all the bells and whistles, so I'm going to use Irfanview, which is a free program. Once you've downloaded Irfanview and installed the necessary plugins, go to Options and select Make a PDF file from Images. Then select the images you want to be in your file, and you'll be able to see them in this small window in Irfanview. You can use the scroll bars to make sure that all of your files are in the proper order. But before we go any farther, let me introduce you to Lulu. I've signed into my account and I'm selecting all the same print size options that I did with my project in CreateSpace. And at this time, I'm assigning a bogus name since I won't be doing anything with this book. Here's what Lulu's uploader looks like. I had to use an FTP client to get all of my files into Lulu first because they were very large and cumbersome. After they're uploaded, they appear in the My Files on Lulu tab. And this is where Lulu gets messy. This folder contains all of your projects, so if you're uploading page by page like I had to do, you run into the risk of having multiple page 1, page 2, and page 3 if you have multiple books. You get where I'm going with this, right? I couldn't upload a PDF because Lulu's printers don't like PDFs with only images in them. I don't know how better to explain that, but they just don't. It never worked right for me, so I tried using JPEGs and it worked much better. After 4 years of that working properly, I figured, why fix something that isn't broken? So in Lulu, you select the files that you want to add to your book, and then you wait. I'll hop back into Irfanview while we wait on Lulu to process. Back in Irfanview, select the pages that belong together and click the Move Down button. This will move the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 pages gradually into place at the top of the file list. You'll do this a few times, and while it seems arduous, it's not half as bad as Lulu's process. Once you've finished, double and triple check your numbering to make sure that your pages are in order. There's nothing worse than printing your book out of order. Back to Lulu. Now that the pages are here, I have to organize them by manually moving them up and down. This process is clunky and downright annoying when you have over 60 pages. On top of that, when you add more pages, you'll have to do it all over again. Because not all of your files appear in the My Files on Lulu window, you'll have to navigate between pages within that tiny window, selecting what pages you do want to add and then adding them. No, you can't add files from different pages within the window, and no, you can't move multiple files once you're actually sorting them either. This is a pain. The process alone would take me at least an hour, assuming that I didn't have connection problems with Lulu and that I could readily find all my files. Irfanview may take a while to combine all your files into a PDF, but it's much better than Lulu's manual process, which again is really clunky. So now we're ready to go back to the CreateSpace website. You'll select the type of pages and then upload your file. You'll also get to select if you want full bleed or not. I want full bleed. And now we wait. This part is going to take a while, regardless of which service you use, so go watch some anime. Once CreateSpace is done uploading, you'll get to see what your interior pages actually look like in their interior reviewer. This is something that Lulu doesn't have. You can view multiple pages and even switch between views using the menu at the top. This is your chance to check your margins, which are indicated by the interior dotted line, and the cut line indicated by the outside dotted line. If there was a problem that CreateSpace was able to identify on its own, it will be indicated by a small red X. Once you're happy with your interior pages, click the Save and Continue button at the bottom. I almost always forget to do this because it's so easy to just X out of the viewer, but if you don't click the button, you have to go back and do it anyways. This is one way that CreateSpace guarantees that you check the interior of your book. On a side note, this is what I feel really sets CreateSpace apart. I love the interior reviewer because it allows me to see what the interior of my books look like before I order them and have them shipped. Now it's time for the cover art. I like the glossy cover, but matte is an option too, so pick whichever one you want. You'll need a template to format the cover properly as well. You can't just submit the cover art as an individual JPEG file like you can with Lulu. You'll need to actually build your cover into a single file that contains front, back, and binding of the book. Again, this is where I really prefer CreateSpace to Lulu, even though it seems like a little bit of extra work. To me, it's not work, it's due diligence. This way, I can make sure that my files look right and are printed correctly time and time again. CreateSpace again provides a tutorial and a template for this part. You'll want to get a new cover template for each book, especially if the page count has changed. Think about the cover of a book like wrapping paper on a present. The bigger the box, the more paper you need to cover it. If there are more pages, you need more packaging to wrap around the width of the spine. CreateSpace not only gives you the math if you want to manually make your own template, they even provide you a template generator based on your page count. I recommend using the generator. You'll have to get the PNG or PDF, I like the PNG better, copy and paste it to another location because most programs won't work with a file contained in a zip, and then open it in an image editing program like Photoshop. After you have it open, just add your front and back cover art. Make sure the art fits inside the orange box. In case you need help figuring out what the orange box is, there are instructions on the image itself that serve as a reminder. But by now, you're probably an expert in margin, cut, and bleed lines. I've added a black square behind my images to make sure that the orange doesn't show, and I've extended it over the orange edge just to make sure that the full bleed is fully accounted for. Now you're ready to save and upload the file to CreateSpace. But wait, your file can't exceed a certain size. One way to fix this is to merge all of your layers in Photoshop. This reduces the information contained in the image, thus reducing the amount of digital space your image occupies. Believe it or not, this trick actually works. Most of the time anyways. And now we wait, but I'll just skip ahead and save you the headache. Now it's time to review your project as a whole. Make sure you have all green check marks in the left-hand column. You will then be asked to price your book if you want to make an ebook or not, add a description, and select distribution methods. This part should be cake. After all of that is done, your book is sent to CreateSpace for review. After they review it, you'll get an email in about 24 hours letting you know that you can order your proof. You'll want to do this as soon as possible. CreateSpace requires you to review your printed proof before they will allow you to start ordering and distributing. So get this out of the way as soon as you can. And congrats! Your book is now published. Thank you guys for watching this tutorial. I hope you found it helpful and are able to benefit from some of my personal experiences in the self-publishing world. If you have questions or comments, please feel free to leave them in the comments below, or you can send me an email. You can also contact me on any of my other social media pages linked in the description. Thank you guys again for all the support and for watching. I hope you guys have a wonderful day.